Cannot wait to watch it. That's the best thing that show does all year long. They do it every year, different locations. It's so awesome.
Bart Scott with us. Time for Say What? Jimmy Butler was in his bag last night, dropping 30 points in the first half. The first Heat player to do that since LeBron James. After the game, he wanted the spotlight all to himself. Say what?
Jimmy, you made it very plain. We all should know by now. He is not having, and it is video bombs, not having it. You made it very plain that you don't care what happens as long as it's a win. Is it any more savory?
Go to the locker room, man. Go to the locker room. Great game. Go to the locker, please. We got another one tomorrow.
What is it that you don't enjoy about the video bombs?
Huh? It's not about them right now. It's about me.
Also, it's good to see that Jimmy hadn't changed. Whether he's in Chicago, Minnesota, Philly, Miami, same old Jimmy.
Listen, we have the best behind-the-scenes production staff of any show on sports television, so I never do this, but we have a fact error in our little bottom line there. It says Jimmy Butler jokes. He ain't joking.
No, it's not a
Jimmy Butler tells the most honest truth he's told in years that, yo, it's about me right now.
But you know what? Jimmy don't feel bad about it.
No.
That's the part about it that's so shocking.
Roscoe Jenkins, man. Team of me. That's all they care about.
That's a good pull, man. Roscoe Jenkins. All-time. YouTube it, kids. Just type into the old YouTube Roscoe Jenkins video game. You'll be injury. Your risk of re-injury is at 40% within 21 days, and it drops to around 10% outside of 21 days. So playing him last week would have been rushing him. Playing him this week, you're within the window of where it's safe. So I think they already gave him the extra week off. And what we have seen with Patrick Mahomes this year, despite playing on an injured ankle, despite not having his offensive line left tackle for most of the season, despite not having Tyreek Hill for most of the games he started, was a guy who was on his same MVP pace as last year. 15 touchdowns, 1 interception, 311 passing yards per game, a passer rating of 113. Like, what Patrick Mahomes does is remind everyone every week he goes out there, he's the best player in football. It's what we've seen for however many starts he's had, 25 career starts in this league. So I don't think that would be any different because 3.5 weeks ago he dislocated his kneecap.
Well, here's the thing. If Pat Mahomes plays, obviously I think he'll play at an MVP level. I just think he's that kind of guy. I would have him in the top 5 of all quarterbacks in the National Football League. But even if he is the starting quarterback on Sunday, I don't think that this Kansas City Chiefs team needs him to play at an MVP level because all the other areas of your team are playing so well. What that defense did and being able to stop Dalvin Cook and that Minnesota Vikings run game, that was impressive. And then seeing how the complementary pieces around the quarterback played in that second half, down by 6, late in that third quarter, being able to come back and find a way to win that game. Tyreek Hill stepping up and making plays, Travis Kelce, all of their receivers. Like, that to me is the special part about what this Chiefs team can be capable of. Benefit them moving forward. Now, in looking at it, I would look at the competition that the Chiefs faced the last 2 weeks in the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings as being a lot tougher competition as opposed to the Titans and the Chargers. So if my quarterback, that's the backup, Matt Moore, can give me a split against the Packers and the Vikings, I would feel fairly confident about him being able to go on the road and put my team in a situation where they can be competitive against a mediocre AFC South team. So I like where this Chiefs team is at right now. I would just caution about putting Pat Mahomes out there a little too early, just because I know I can't afford for him to have any kind of setbacks if I'm going to get where we want to go this season.
And you worry about the biggest setback is the ankle, because the knee is structurally sound. That's fine, but the ankle, high ankle sprains, those things come back all the time. And what what you worry about is Mahomes. You want him to protect himself and not do these off-schedule plays, but then the instincts kick in, the competitive nature kicks in, and he might put himself in harm's way. This is a tough one for me because I'm conflicted because Tennessee Titans are just the type of team that the Kansas City Chiefs can struggle against. Derrick Henry running the ball downhill, playing keep away, time of possession. Navigate through some of those adverse situations that can come up, being able to be challenged at the line of scrimmage. You look at what the Colts were able to do, going there and really play man-to-man coverage and not let these receivers off to get downfield, and then let the pass rush eventually get to the quarterback.
Well, the one thing about the Colts game, though, no Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill is a solver for that man-to-man coverage. You both mentioned the Chiefs' defense. I want to say something about them real quick. DVOA, which is kind of an all-encompassing stat, has them 11th. The traditional stat, points per game, they're 18th. Yards per play, they're 14th. Third down defense, they're 14th. Red zone defense, they're 16th. None of those are great numbers. But we've never thought Kansas City needed to have a great defense. They needed to not have a terrible defense. They needed to get the 28th or worse ranked defense up to around the 18th-ish defense. It looks like they've done that. It looks like all of a sudden Steve Spagnuolo's system's starting to take form. Chris Jones coming back was enormous. He is the best player on that defense. Tyrann Mathieu making just enough plays in the secondary. If the Chiefs can just be a slightly below average defense, they are the best team in the NFL because the offense is that much better when Patrick Mahomes is out there than everybody else. That's why I have so much confidence in them. And as far as you mentioning the Titans are the type of team that gives them trouble, that's why I was concerned about the Vikings game. If I hadn't seen what they did to Dalvin Cook, and maybe it was an outlier game, I'd be much more worried about Derrick Henry this week coming in or in Nashville running all over him.
A big back like that make you make business decisions, and those linebackers aren't. They don't got that lion.
How many business decisions you make, Bart?
I didn't have the elite talent to be able to not make businesses. My decisions always hit my head against the wall.
Take a break. Coming up, who do you trust more, Dak Prescott or Kirk Cousins? That's next on First Things First.
Tell him, Bart, you got to know who you are.
Man.
You don't have
We
that
got a bunch
luxury.
of Jet fans out there.